They arrive day and night. Migrants seeking asylum in America have recently been showing up at the U.S.-Mexico border at the highest numbers in more than a decade.
It's no longer just a partisan campaign issue or a Democrat or Republican talking point. There is a crisis on the U.S.-Mexico border. Last week, a shocking report from the Wall Street Journal told of a record-breaking crush of asylum seekers that has the U.S. immigration court system backlogged with more than 869,000 cases. What's unprecedented isn't the number of illegal immigrants, but that they are families with children requesting asylum. The story of one Honduran family brings the chaos into sharp relief. 27-year-old Gregorio and his 1-year-old daughter Miriam crossed into the U.S. illegally in California, then flagged down Border Patrol agents to request asylum. For several days, they were shipped between various Border Patrol facilities. But these facilities are best equipped for arresting and processing scattered single males crossing from Mexico in search of work. And now asylum seekers, including women and children, find themselves sleeping shoulder to shoulder in the small concrete cells of American detention centers with no better option. After an interview, Gregorio and Miriam were granted an asylum case and released to wait for a court hearing. According to the Wall Street Journal, the wait can be months or even years. Gregorio and Miriam spent a few nights at a chapel-turned-shelter in Arizona before traveling north where, luckily, they had relatives. But not all migrants are so fortunate. And where can the hundreds of thousands of other migrant families go in the meantime? Motels, churches, Salvation Army thrift stores, even highway overpasses and bridges are being converted to makeshift shelters for migrant families awaiting court dates. There's not enough food and water. American border towns are overwhelmed and in chaos. One town declared a state of emergency. This crisis comes after decades of insecurity at the border, which has led to greater and greater humanitarian threats. Every U.S. president since Ronald Reagan has spoken of the need to better secure the border. President Barack Obama spoke pointedly about it in 2008 and promised to tackle the issue. But policy strictures and political tensions hampered progress. In a practice commonly known as catch and release, border enforcement often arrested illegal migrants, gave them court dates, then released them on U.S. soil. Many never returned for their hearings. Violent criminals and human traffickers have found ways to take advantage of the holes in U.S. border enforcement. So have drug cartels. And according to an NBC News report from last year, border officials recently saw 191 cases of adults caught posing as the parents of children they were actually trafficking. The Trump administration is making efforts to curb the crisis, trying to institute more consistent enforcement against illegal migration, seeking congressional funding to secure the border, and more recently requesting funds to offer humanitarian aid to stranded migrant families. Both sides of the political aisle are beginning to see that whether they consider themselves Trump supporters or not, the Trump administration is trying to solve a real problem. But there's only so much any president can do, and ultimately, the crisis may only get worse until Congress can put aside their differences and take on the decades-old issue of insecurity at the border. With children at risk and hundreds of thousands without shelter or food, many believe now is the time for Congress to act. This has been an episode of CVTV. Subscribe to CVTV on YouTube, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and sign up at catholicvote.org/loop.